Macbeth, written by William Shakespeare, tells the tragic story of a Scottish nobleman whose ambition leads to his downfall. After receiving a prophecy from 3 witches that he will become king, Macbeth is consumed by the desire for power. Encouraged by his wife Lady Macbeth, he murders King Duncan and takes the throne. However, his paranoia and guilt drive him to commit more crimes, including the murder of his friend Banquo and Macduff's family. As Macbeth grows more ruthless, he loses the loyalty of his allies. Eventually, Macduff leads an army against him, and Macbeth is killed in battle, fulfilling the witch's prophecy. The play ends with Malcolm, the rightful heir, reclaiming the throne of Scotland. Now let's analyse the book. Macbeth is a tragedy that explores the consequences of unchecked ambition, the corrupting nature of power, and the struggle between fate and free will. Shakespeare uses dramatic irony, symbolism, and foreshadowing to create tension throughout the play. The imagery of darkness, blood, and hallucinations reflects Macbeth's inner turmoil and guilt. The structure follows a rapid descent from honour to madness, showing how a single decision can spiral into destruction. The supernatural elements, including the witches and their cryptic prophecies, add mystery and raise questions about whether Macbeth's fate was predetermined or self-inflicted. Now let's look at some key themes. One of the most important themes in Macbeth is the dangerous effects of ambition when it is not controlled by morality. Macbeth begins as a brave and loyal nobleman, but his thirst for power leads him to commit terrible crimes. Lady Macbeth shares this ambition and pushes him to kill Duncan, believing that seizing power will bring them happiness. However, instead of satisfaction, their ambition leads to paranoia, isolation, and madness. Shakespeare suggests that ambition without limits can destroy not only individuals, but also entire kingdoms. Now let's explore another key theme. Throughout the play, Macbeth struggles with the idea of destiny. The witches tell him that he will become king, but they do not say how. This raises the question of whether Macbeth is simply fulfilling fate or making his own choices. At first, he hesitates to kill Duncan, showing he has a sense of right and wrong. However, after committing murder, he continues down a path of violence, as if he has no control over his actions. Shakespeare does not give a clear answer, leaving it up to the audience to decide whether Macbeth is a victim of fate or if he willingly chooses his downfall. Now let's examine one more theme. Guilt plays a major role in Macbeth, shaping the characters' minds and actions. After murdering Duncan, Macbeth is haunted by his conscience, hearing voices that say he will never sleep again. He also sees Banquo's ghost, showing how deeply his guilt affects him. Lady Macbeth, who at first seems fearless, later becomes overwhelmed with remorse, obsessively trying to wash imaginary blood from her hands. Their guilt consumes them, leading to madness and death. Shakespeare presents guilt as an inescapable force, showing that even great power cannot erase a guilty conscience. Now let's analyse the characters. Macbeth is a complex character who changes drastically throughout the play. At first, he is a respected warrior, but his ambition and insecurities lead him to commit terrible acts. He becomes increasingly ruthless, losing his humanity as he chases power. Lady Macbeth is equally ambitious, but shows her vulnerability as guilt overwhelms her. Banquo, in contrast, represents honour, as he does not act on the witch's prophecy. Macduff serves as a foil to Macbeth, showing true loyalty and justice. Shakespeare uses these characters to explore different responses to power, fate, and guilt, making Macbeth one of his most psychologically intense tragedies.